It's Dave Lawrence, member-supported Hawaii Public Radio, HPR1, and all things considered. Grateful to have you on board. And today, Dave Wyndorf, principal, songwriter, guitarist, vocalist of Monster Magnet. It's a band that I've enjoyed following the progress of since the early 90s, 1992, I guess it was. Cobras Fire, the Mastermind Redux, latest album from them, and it's a real pleasure to welcome him to All Things Considered.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
What's up? Nice name.
Dave's not here.
Yeah, really?
How many
times have you heard that in your life?
Right, exactly. When first station, that was like the big bit. So as I welcome you to the program, and you're in Jersey today?
Yep, I'm in beautiful New Jersey.
Keeping it authentic and the magnet theme, as it were. And before we get into the record, any Hawaii connections, any experiences, stories, anything to do with you in Hawaii?
Only once. I mean, we played with Metallica. We opened up for Metallica in Hawaii, and it was just like, I can't remember the show, but I remember trying to get the best out of Hawaii I could. So I think I rented like a motorbike or something and just drove all around. It was awesome.
Wow. What year? I mean, that was probably, I'm guessing that was, I could probably answer it myself. That must have been the Power Trip Tour, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was Power Trip. So it was probably like maybe 1998 or 90, probably 99, 2000.
Okay, a few years before.
Man, it's like I've flown over Hawaii enough times to be like really, really mad that I'm not there.
Yeah, in the old days, the planes couldn't go the whole way or whatever. There were a lot more shows too as a result of that. Actually.
I know. I heard all about it, and I'm like, God damn it!
So it's not the first reimagining, but clearly, for at least a fan, it's successful musically. If you can, for people who are tuning in and maybe new to Magnet as well, if you can explain the concept of this reimagining, the Mastermind Redux that we're working on now, and how it first came to you as a method, even the last time.
Well, the whole method has been like kind of percolating in my head forever. Anybody who does something and releases something like, say, like a movie or an album or something, there's always several different ways to present the music. Different chords, different tempos, all this. I mean, it's maddening, to a certain point. But because of deadlines and because of commercial considerations and all that stuff, you do what you do. In the modern age, starting with director's cuts on DVDs, I just kept thinking, I was like, well, why don't I just do whatever I want to do? I mean, there's no rules, is there? Albums aren't released. There's not big opening days for albums anymore, and albums stay around. They stay in the internet forever. So who's to say what's what? The only person to really say what is the real album is me. Mm-hmm. So, if the captain of the ship wants to go crazy, then the captain of the ship will go crazy. And that's what I decided to do. It's so much fun to go back, take stuff apart, fiddle with it after the fact. I could do this in between tours. It's like in between time on tours is not the right time to write new material because you just have to go. You don't have enough time to actually write the stuff and rehearse the band and record the band and do the whole album trip. But there is enough time for me to go completely berserk on other things. And that's why I decided to just finally indulge myself in that concept and to also actually just release it as a release. It's really fun.
And the thing I would point out is, and that's a great way, so it's sort of an extension. It's a way of saying, hey, they do these with movies, and there's these director cuts. Why not? You could do the same concept with a record and have fun with it. But what a couple things I've noticed about it is, one, it becomes, when you get a DVD that's, say, a director's cut of, Jaws, we'll just put any movie in there. Even if they've added a few things to it, in general, it ends up being an extended version of Jaws. But for myself, at least, Mastermind is close to unrecognizable in this, and yet the presentation of Cobras Fire, the Mastermind Redux as a whole, to me, stands as, and it's just my opinion, it's one of the best Magnet albums ever. It's just so original. You can barely hear the Mastermind in there. Can you talk about the re-recording process and how much of the actual record you used?
Yeah, it's insane. And you're right. It's not, I shouldn't say director's cut. This is like I don't know. It's just like I just stripped off the flesh off a skeleton and then started putting the flesh back on. So is it the original? Kind of. I just thought to my, on this particular record, I listened back to Mastermind, which was done in a hurry and done with a co-producer. And I was like, it's just too stock. It sounds too slick. It's a well done record. It's really slick. It's really shiny. It's a nice rock record. It's got a lot of songs on it, and some of them are good. It's got its moments, but it could have been a lot better. It could have been more eccentric and odd, and that's the way I've been getting lately in my life. So when I did Last Patrol, I had gotten rid of my old co-producer and went with my good buddy Phil, and did things really, really my way in a very, very homegrown style, like recording in my hometown and walking down the block to the studio, and I'd spend like 4 hours or 12 hours and do whatever the hell I wanted. I didn't really care about fidelity as much. I wasn't looking to obey any rules. All I was looking to do was to gain an atmosphere out of each of those songs with any kind of music I could get, any kind of lo-fi or hi-fi delivery of that music, any instrument, and just take the lyrics of the song and listen to them and say, what do these lyrics really need to accentuate them? What kind of music does it need? There's no laws. It doesn't have to be a rock song or whatever. And with that in mind, I just went with my gut and just set up a bunch of instruments like organs and old mellotrons and all kinds of cool old stuff, little cheesy amplifiers, broken things that were broken, and just said, all right, I'm going to try this. Nope, yes, boom. All right, good. That's odd. That sounds good. And that was the way I treated it. Each was an adventure. It was really fun.
For fans who are new to it, one of the hallmarks of what makes Monster what's probably attracted many people to the Magnet was stylistically the use of the retro gear. You go all the way back to the guitar tone that is on Super Judge, the guitar tone on Spine of God, for that matter. And you've achieved these remarkably authentic retro sounds, and it really is. I mean, it's my personal opinion, but you're one of the ones I've really wanted to tell this to for so many years, because some people have tried it. Not a lot of people do. It's a very eccentric kind of form. So when my question would be, from the point of view of the actual mastermind of the record, for all of these records really, which is you, can you explain your fascination with the old gear and also obtaining this equipment, and then any of the interesting stories that go along with laying it down to tape in the way that you do?
Well, for one thing, I love the sounds because they're honestly really, really cool sounds. And, each technology, as we go through the 20th, in my life, late part of the 20th century into the 21st century, every technology has a sweet spot. And I really think musical instruments and sounds, in my personal opinion, hit a sweet spot somewhere around between 65 and 75. And it's not that they didn't invent anything new afterwards or new methods, or they did. But for some reason, that's some of the most original and almost like cartoonishly obvious sounds I've ever heard. So I fell in love with them, and I have not found anything better. I love those sounds, and I was like, that's going to be my vocabulary. And, of course, it doesn't help that I'm also in love with the whole bizarreness of that era, lyrically, too. And I just wanted to hear it, and I thought that was the best way to express the music. So started getting those old instruments, and started off with very few.
You own them, or do you rent them?
I'll do whatever I can. I own some. Phil has a lot. But if I need to rent them, I remember Dopes to Infinity, I rented so much old stuff because I just didn't want to see anything new. I was like, I don't want to see anything new. I don't want to. The waveforms are different. Just to get musically techie about the whole thing. Older guitars with the old pickups and fuzz boxes and amps and stuff, they aren't as consistent as new stuff. So it's not, you have to fight them to get the sound. It's in that struggle of this kind of like off again, on again, subtly wavering forms of, this sound that's coming out, is where when you put them all together becomes this sound that you can't replicate with modern stuff, because the modern stuff is just so damn good. Really, really good. I mean, you want high distortion, zoomy, full on, right in your face. You've got it, but there's a certain flatlining that happens when everything's perfect. It's like working with too many plugins, computer plugins. Everything's so perfect and so in its direct that if you put all these sounds together, it becomes kind of a hum. It's like what happens to you when you listen to too much electronic dance music, and you go from being, wow, this guy's the next Mozart, to next. A second. You do it in a second, This is the coolest thing I've ever heard. And then a second later, you're like, turn it off.
Exactly. You can't get through the tune.
You can't get through the tune. Because I think, in my opinion, it's because it's all these frequencies, similar frequencies going. Kids love it because it's right in your face. You don't have to try.
Right.
And maybe in the end, it doesn't matter, but it matters to me. So I love the struggle of getting all the instruments together and making them work. And Phil Cavano helps me greatly because he's a great guitar player and he knows his instruments. I don't know anything about anything. I just pick up something and bang on it till it sounds cool.
Well, that would throw anyone who knows your music off, because the stuff is so well laid out, and it doesn't seem randomly put together at all. I mean,
it's all how it hits the ear. I mean,
right.
To me, it's all about how one instrument fits with the other. If you're going to lose a lot of distortion on one guitar, why use a lot of distortion on another? You're not going to hear it. It's all going to be fuzz. So I put clean against dirty all the time, and more as I get older. Try to get more power from the combination of instruments and less from like one booming giant instrument.
Yeah, I noticed that actually, because I was going to say after last night I was reviewing Spine of God and Super Judge Dopes, and I was like, the stuff that I like about the band is still there, but it's very different. It's like it was raw, it was more simple, and you accomplished what you were doing with the guitars and just a smaller amount of effects. This new record is a lot more Floyd-esque. It's like there's so many layers to it. It's very Phil Spector, it reminds me of, but it works in a way that it's hard to believe. We're in an era too, Dave, no one makes records, no one buys records, and it's odd for me because I do this with a lot of different kinds of artists, and I just was blown away that you would have something that to me strikes me as something that could have come out in 1975 stylistically. It's so authentic. It's so original.
You like totally made my whole day.
I mean,
I don't know if people are listening.
I
get so far up my own behind doing these things. I'm like, what is it? What am I doing? At the end of it, I'm like, why did I do that? Like, why did I just spend 12 hours a day unplugging and plugging stuff in, going, no, yes, it doesn't matter. But if you say it, and like just you mentioned that, it makes me so happy.
Oh, Dave, it made me so happy to put it on. I couldn't believe it was like tripping back to being, and it's still, I'll even when I'm done talking to you, I'll be wondering how in an era when people don't even buy records, when you can't hear a great new record of any kind, let alone a rock record, that you've come up with this. And let me zero in on a song, Watch Me Fade, which is one of the ones I'm considering using in the bit that we do on the air with this. And the organ lines, forgive me, I've got the advanced package, so I don't have all the notes. The organ lines, who's doing that?
That is a guy from Long Branch, New Jersey, a couple of towns away, named Jeff Levine.
Man, is he smoking. Love it.
Old guy, been playing organ forever. He's about 15 years older than me. And I just, I heard that he was good and had him come over, and I was like, play it like this. I was like, play it like the Animals. Okay, play it like Strawberry Alarm Clock. No, okay, play it like, and he knew all my references. So, it's important to work. It's hard to work with young people and stuff because they don't know the references. Unless they're into music as much as I am. There's a very distinct difference in styles within this seemingly one style, quote unquote 60s sound, And I'm like, nope, that's too Strawberry Alarm Clock. Let's go more for, Alan Price and the Animals. And he knew it, and he went for the Alan Price part, and it made the song come alive.
It's you've done things like that throughout you round out the sound with other things, but this one is it's one of a few really powerful tracks on the record. Any insights into the lyrics that you just want to share?
Really, the lyrics were, just another rant of a guy living in the me living in the 21st century, going like,
"What am I doing here?
I'm fading away." Basically, I'm alive. I'm doing everything I should be, but I feel like I'm fading away. Like, while I'm sleeping, there are people operating on the internet, to get my job. Somebody's doing push-ups somewhere while I'm like sleeping and putting on a few pounds. Like, I'm going to get your job. And also, I think I wrote it probably just at the beginning. This was a bunch of years ago when Facebook was becoming huge. And I was just like, well, this is it, man. It's like everybody's going to be just completely out of their minds, like wondering. The more they get into this, the more they're going to wonder if they're worth something. It's like a dog chasing its tail. And that's what the song's about. Just like, pull me up and watch me fade. Like, I'm coming up. All right, I'm fading away. It's like, there's no, what can I do? Pretty much what it's about.
Wonderful.
Nice, cheery song.
I love the thing about the Facebook. It's so true. It's just like a high school. It's so juvenile, and how many likes, and do I meet the perception of who I should be? I could.
Wow. I could see it being popular, but like this is the major cultural thing that people talk about for year after year. Like how important Facebook is. It's like
unreal.
This is the worst thing you could possibly
yes.
do. Hey, let's figure out the worst thing we could possibly do, rather than just aside of like getting addicted to heroin. That we could do with our time. We got it. Let's go. Just forget it. Just here you go. Work a little, do something, get an idea for something, and just blather it out before it's all finished, and talk about it, and never really finish anything. Facebook.
It's very true. You know what I think when I hear that tune? I was thinking last night, is it hard to do the patented Dave Wyndorf growl, that wow thing that you do throughout the show?
I love those. Those are just screams from all those 60s guys. That's what I love, those guys.
Oh, I don't
know how they scream like it. Well, they were probably 18 years old, too, but I finally got it down. It took me a couple of years. Now I have my favorite screamers, different singers, like Alice Cooper. Early Alice Cooper is a great screamer.
Who are the people that you are, there are people older than you that I liked a lot when they were younger, and, they're understandably, they can't do what they used to do, but you are one of, especially because your record proves you still do it, you are one of my absolute all-time favorite singers, bar none. No age. It's not like Robert Plant and the older people are. I love the way that you sing. So if you can, you started to do it, but talk about where you discovered singers, what was the first record, what was the thing, and then about your style. Just who is it that you love so much as a singer?
Well, the vocals always like the most important. I always thought the most important part on the record when I was a kid. I thought that was the way it's supposed to be. And if you didn't have a good lead vocalist, then the music, nobody would listen to the music. At least that's what I thought in my head. So I had to really try. I listened to my older brother's records, which like Stones and the Beatles. But my first records were like Sabbath and Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, all this stuff, all these different styles, Sly and the Family Stone. Everybody was singing kind of different. The one thing I did appreciate about most of these, everybody sang in kind of a bluesy thing. I thought that was what you're supposed to sing. When I finally did get into a band, I had listened to so many records by that point. I think I was like 18 or 19. And we did covers. We had a 3-hour set. This was like 1975 or 1976. And we did covers to play these high school dances. And, of course, we'd pick our wish list. So it would be one song by Sabbath, 2 songs by UFO, 1 song by Lou Reed, 2 songs by the Stooges, 1 song by Hawkwind, all these different bands. So I had to sing all those different ways. And And somehow when I finally, got writing my own stuff, I think a little bit of all that stuff that I could pull off wound up in my voice.
No Paul Stanley?
Yeah. I mean, there is Paul Stanley, and I can hear it. I don't even want it. I've heard that before. I'm like, that sounds like Paul Stanley, dude.
The classic. I mean, and I'm not putting down anybody's anything because people get older and stuff, but the early first 3 records, 4 records, whatever it was, there was something about the way he would hammer. And I feel for him now because trying to reproduce that at his age must be painful.
It's really, really tough. I mean, man, it's like, on that note, I mean, I always watch what I'm doing, like live. It's like, well, this song ain't going to work tonight, so, the singing thing is just so, I mean, when you start hearing that vocals in your head and you're singing in the shower or whatever, because I always sang when I was a little kid, and it sounds somewhat like it, when you're all by yourself, you're like, this is fucking great. This is amazing. This sounds kind of like that. I can do that. You never forget it. And then I think over the years, you just kind of make a bag of tricks. And it becomes you. Hopefully, it becomes you.
It's a great bag of tricks, dude. I mean, your singing style, it's just incredible. I love it. It's one of my very favorites.
It's fun to sing. Singing is good for you. You know what I mean? Singing is like a good thing for people to do, whether you get paid for it or not. It's like, man, get in that room with nobody in there or go to karaoke or something, but it'll set you free to a certain extent.
Now, I know what you mean. It's kind of like moving, dancing, the rhythm, when you get your blood moving and stuff. There's more to it than it's not just dancing, what you're saying, or singing. There's a release that's good for you psychologically and spiritually.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like exercising, but like cool exercising, not like stupid exercise. It's good exercise,
Hey, on a positive note, it was 1995. I was interviewing Tony Iommi for one of the first times I ever did, and Dopes was brand new, and at the end of the interview, I'd had an hour with him, and I'll never forget it, Holiday Inn, Mansfield, Mass, right before they were playing at the Tweeter Center that night, and so interview ends. I said, this is one of my I'm paraphrasing, this is basically what happened. I said, this is one of my very favorite bands, and they sound so much like Sabbath. Have you ever checked this out? And I handed it to him, and he looked at it. He goes, Monster Magnet. I said, yeah. He has never heard of them. I said, seriously, you've never heard this band? He goes, no. I said, this is my gift to you. You got to check this thing out. So I just wanted to tell you, Dave,
that's awesome.
With God listening, my mom in heaven listening, I did that. I handed Tony Iommi. You are speaking to the person who introduced your music to Tony.
Well, I'm speechless, man. Thank you so much. I mean, I would love to see that. Can you have some sort of like fucking mind loop that you can send me? Can you send me a link to your brain, to your memory, so I can see that? That's awesome.
Ever get to spend time with them yourself?
No, I think the Black Sabbath. Out of all these, I met everybody, and I never met any of the Black Sabbath. I think I met Bill Ward one time in Los Angeles, and he was really, really cool.
It's sinful. Considering, and I'll say this too, it's just my opinion, but when that record came out the other year, what your new album sounds like, Cobras Fire, is what the Sabbath should have sounded like.
I mean, how hard is it to make a classic Sabbath album? They already set the blueprint, like at least 5 times. It's like, how could somebody? It's like, I blame Rick Rubin.
I can't understand
it. He's a horse's ass. You know what I mean?
I want to hide under the desk. I can't believe they couldn't find a way to get Bill. I can't believe that your record, because it's like, I can't believe I'm even saying this. Like a dude from Jersey who was influenced by it is now gone on to do a better. Don't get me started.
I'm just staying on point of what their point was. I'm staying on point. Those guys went off point. I mean, and they're old, they're whatever, for whatever. They don't want to get too involved, and they just want to get the record out. And I don't know if they can't use their ears anymore, but I mean, I can't believe that Tony Iommi didn't sit down and go, well, those drums are kind of standard for Black Sabbath, aren't they? I mean, isn't Black Sabbath, I mean, if we're going for old Sabbath, shouldn't our drums be busier?
Yeah.
But they didn't. And what gets me is that so many people go, yeah, it sounds like old Sabbath. It's like, not without those drums, dude. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't, you got to have that caveman jazz bow, Bill Ward played drums like nobody else.
Caveman.
It's like Buddy Rich and a caveman together.
I love it.
That's the Sabbath thing. I blame the producers. Anybody that said, yeah, we'll set you up. Everything be cool, you guys. But I don't think they make albums like a band anymore. They make albums like a political process, a business arrangement.
Yeah, when you're making that kind of dough, it's really Sabbath. I heard it said best like this: Sabbath, once they got Mercedes and Rolls Royce, you can't go back to Birmingham from there. But the thing that I want to back on the new album that really, and it covers your whole career as we go to wrap it up. You have a thing about doing covers. Maybe it's all the way back from, and I'm not going to name them all, but from Sin's a Good Man's Brother to Evil Is Going On, and I'm bowing on each one of these. Kick Out the Jams. You have this thing about nailing covers, and the one on the new record, talk about a band not doing something that people expected. When the Temptations came out with Ball of Confusion, that was a somewhat unusual song for them. I've had Otis Williams, last original member, on the program. We've talked about
psychedelic soul.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything cooler than that?
And what drew you to it? And can you talk about any influence of soul, funk, and R&B throughout the years? Because when I hear your voice, I hear it in there.
Well, yeah, soul and funk and R&B is a huge part of my life. It was like right next to Sabbath. Like I said, it's no problem. It wasn't a problem for me as a kid to buy There's a Riot Going On by Sly and the Family Stone and School's Out by Alice Cooper on the same day. That's the way things were back then. You didn't crawl off into your own genre. You looked at what's out there. And funk was huge in my neighborhood, even for white kids. So it's always there. The thing about Ball of Confusion that gets me is not only is it just probably one of the best well-written songs ever, it's insane, really. Songwriters and arrangers at the top of their game. Of course, I didn't use any of that arrangement, but was the fact that it was psychedelic soul, which was new. We're going to put We're going to put LSD in the Temptations? This is insane. But the subject matter of the song and the fact that it's not a boy meets girl song, it's nothing. It's this existential.
Yep.
Almost like a news, like a freak out, an absolute freak out. It's a ball of confusion, and that's what it was. I can't believe that the charts in America actually had songs like that on it. They would never have that again. That'll never happen again.
Lyrically, it could be from today. And
it sure could. It's right back there. I wish in my heart of hearts that there'd be this crazy, angry, existentialist movement in pop music. Can you imagine all those dance bands and electronic dance music and pop people going why? They'd really change the world, but they're either too stupid or uncaring to do that. They don't use their responsibility. They just keep singing about having another drink at the club.
Well, that's a great point about the Temps approach on the original. And then when at first I was like, I wonder why he chose this. And after a few listens, I thought, man, lyrically, it's like it was written today. This world is so crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. And the main reason, which is just for no reason at all, I had a jam that was done during Mastermind. I just asked Phil Cavano on bass to play a Lemmy-style Hawkwind thing, and Bob to, play in a Hawkwind style, 4 on the floor kind of thing, and I would just hold down the guitar just because I wanted to hear it. They played it so well. I was like, you guys play this stuff so well. I just want to take 4 minutes of this. And maybe I'll do some psychedelic stuff over it later or not. And I just stayed there. It was 5 minutes worth of this, Phil jamming and Bob and then when I took it out to reimagine it, at the top of this year, I sat down and listened to it, and what the hell am I going to do with this? But for some reason, the way these earworms get you, I just kept hearing Ball of Confusion. I don't know why. I heard it. And so I sat down with the guitar and played the chords over it and made sure that the notes didn't clash with the bass improvising, because he improvised the whole thing. And surprisingly, it didn't. So that just told me, I was like, well, there it is. This is going to be a Hawkwind version of Hawkwind Pink Fairies Mastermind version of Bowl of Confusion.
It's just brilliant. I mean, it's just, and like what you just said captures another part of the essence of the band. You have this jammy kind of quality. I grew up listening to a lot of music too, and I loved the Dead. I actually saw you the night Jerry had died. It was at Axis in Boston. I was impressed because even though the ignorant AAF morning show host who introduced you said something dumb about Jerry, you did not, and I'm grateful that you didn't. But you, there was something very jammy about Magnet through the years too, and it reminds me in 1993 I saw WBCN I was working at in Boston, and we had presented Magnet live on the radio after midnight from the Middle East downstairs.
I remember that night.
Oh man, and I'll tell you, the soundboard of that thing, I for years have always referred to that as basically, you want to hear a band, this is what rock and roll should sound like if it's played live. And I guess I mention it because when you talk about doing Ball of Confusion and jamming it, the version of Evil that you did that night, and it's so stripped down, it's so simple, it's not like it was a whole lot of production going on, it's just a few guys, but to take a blues song is there's a lot of reinvention. The way you talked about the reinvention of Ball of Confusion, I just think even a simple song like that, to do what you did, there's also a level of education. It's like you're doing a community service when you take that man's song. Seriously.
Thanks, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's fun to do. I mean, it's like you got the people who play in a band, right? And they're all musicians, and some of them are better than others. But hopefully, if you got the right guys, they're gonna, they have stuff that they want to do. There's a way to let them or encourage them to jam out without destroying the whole structure of the song, and that's really the major thing. When does it go from completely demolished song structure and then it just becomes like Ornette Coleman or something? But it's to get the jammy feel and the feeling of exploration in the music without destroying the structure. Everybody has to look at each other. You have to get guys. It's like being in a band. That's what bands, at least when I was a kid, that's what bands did. They all did it. You don't see that as much anymore. I mean, you have jam bands, but they're designated jam bands. That's all
right.
They do.
That's right, and it's very different than what we're talking about here.
Yeah, we're talking about, and what I'm talking about, there's a structure, a vibe that you want to get when they're strong. You want to get across. You want to keep it within a certain time limit, somewhere, between 4 and 6 minutes. But you also want people to push the envelope, but not destroy the envelope.
Well, I'll tell you. You do it, Dave. And
thanks, dude.
So I don't know whether it's the Red Bank to Wilmington, Delaware thing. I don't know which stations. I was listening to MMR YSP. What were you listening to?
I listened to YSP. Yep.
So you could pick both of them up, or no MMR, or just YSP?
I didn't know MMR. Maybe I couldn't get it.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's weird.
I mean, and I would listen to WNEW FM from New York City. Any free-form FM station I would listen to.
Yeah, it did us so well. I just can't thank you enough. I really, really means a lot. I hope that were you somewhat engaged by this interview?
Oh, absolutely, dude. No, thank you so much. I mean, it really makes me feel good that someone actually is listening, because sometimes you get the feeling that they're really not listening, Especially today. It's a weird world out there.
This is
not a lot of focus,
Thank you, Dave. God bless you, man.
Sure. Aloha. This is Dave Wyndorf from Monster Magnet, and you're listening to my good friend Dave Lawrence at member-supported Hawaii Public Radio and All Things Considered.
You're an animal. You should hear my outtake reel with some of these really famous people.
Motherfucker! It's like Buddy Rich, yeah.
I got some good ones in there. All right,
some days you're on and some days you're off. I remember, I think I had a string where I was, unbelievably excellent for, weeks. And then I was like, I got this stuff down. I'll never have to do it again. And then I never did a good one again for 2 years. It was a complete disaster.
Oh, man, you're so down to earth. I don't know, Dave. All I can tell you, I just can't say. I lost my mom, my grandmom. Been through a lot of shit in the last couple of years. So things,
I've done all that.
And I believe it. So I just leave you with this. I really listen to your music, and it is a great pleasure to get to talk to you.
Awesome, dude. It was my pleasure.
It's Dave Wyndorf, Monster Magnet, Cobras Fire, the Mastermind Redux, and it's out. It's in stores. Look for it and make it part of your library. I really, really appreciate you being part of member-supported Hawaii Public Radio and All Things Considered with me, Dave. It means a lot, and congrats on doing an incredible record.
Thank you very much, Dave. It's my pleasure. Nice talking to you.